Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Dragons Lair podcast in association with Riverside Sports Bar, the home for live sport and great burgers in Newport. I'm Jamie, and joining me for this one is the eternal optimist, Gareth Leclerc. Gareth, how are we?
All good, all good. Feel like I've been robbed of my victory pod this week. We were close, but yeah, all good.
Yeah, close but no cigars. Always the way,
Yeah,
isn't it, with the Dragons, unfortunately. Now, Gavin can't be with us this week. His boy has picked up a knock to the knee in his game this afternoon. So we wish him all the best. He's down A&E with him now. So hopefully he has a speedy recovery. It's Gavin's birthday as well. It was his birthday this weekend. So happy birthday, Gav. Yeah, not the greatest of weekends, is it, with Wales, Southampton, the injury to his boy. I'm sure Gav have had better weekends. Well, I'm sure he had a nice birthday, but yeah, this it's
he
not
did
really
have
what you
chips
want.
on his breakfast, which I was a big fan of. So
You
it
enjoyed
wasn't
that,
all
didn't you?
bad. Yeah, I thought, whoa, I'm up for a bit of that. Yeah, that looked
Yeah.
good to be fair. So yeah, not all bad, was it?
No, no, he looks like he had a nice birthday, but yeah, we wish him and his boy well. Hopefully, have a speedy recovery. Right, let's get into the news then. So, the Dragons injury curse late list. Let's have a look at the latest casualty list. So, Elliot D is to have surgery on his shoulder. The 31-year-old will have an operation on a long-standing issue and is poised to be out for several months, making him a doubt for the start of the Six Nations. Friend of the pod, Jumbo, James Benjamin, he's also out for a little while. He's going under the knife, so we're going to wish both players a very speedy recovery. That means we've had to bring in someone on loan. 21-year-old Sale Sharks and Swansea Uni captain Will Austin has been signed on a short-term deal. I've heard good things about him. So, and he looked all right, to be fair, didn't he, on Friday night, I
Yeah,
thought. We are looking very light a hooker now. So we got Elliot D out, Jumbo's out, and Sam Scarf all out injured. And then to top it off, Ollie Burrows went off injured on Friday night. So, yeah, we're looking very, very vulnerable a hooker. And then, of course, there were injuries on Friday night. Seb Davis went off. He looked in a lot of pain, didn't he?
yeah, it didn't look good.
No, he didn't. Ryan Woodman went off. Now, Tia Tia did confirm that he had a dead leg and he's hoping to be okay for Perpignan. So we'll see how that goes. And as I mentioned a little earlier, Ollie Burrows went off as well. So the injury list it feels a little bit like last season, like this time last season, where we're competitive, we're doing okay, but we're not winning games, and the injury list is ever increasing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you're going after the autumn internationals. You're hoping to get a few players back, aren't you? Really, you've had that little break, chance to freshen up some bodies, and our injury list is growing. We've got some important games coming up. So yeah, it's a big concern, especially being very light at hooker. But good to have Brody back now, hopefully. So
Yeah. And then for Wales, Chris Coleman lasted just 18 minutes before he limped off. And Alan Wainwright suffered a very nasty eye injury thanks to the absolute liability that is Tame Plumtree. Honestly, that guy, such a clumsy and careless player. I can't stand him. Yeah, so not great. Not great at all. It's typical of the Dragons injury luck, isn't it? We just never get any luck around injuries. So it's a little bit concerning how these injuries are piling up at a critical stage of the season as well. So
yeah, not sure what we're going to. Yeah, having players like Wainwright, there's no way he's going to be playing in the next week or so, is there? So he has had
no,
a sort of a heavy workload, hasn't he?
yeah, he won't be
But
available for Perpignan. The club never planned to play him for Perpignan. The plan was always to rest him this weekend. So I don't know about Leon in a couple of weeks. You'd hope he'd be available, but it just looked awful that night. And look, it was an accident by Tame Plumtree. In
yeah,
fairness, these things happen, but he is a very clumsy player.
I mean, he's
Which is
had an
probably why.
awful autumn internationals, and it that sort of summed it up for him. He's just
Well,
been.
he's just clumsy and careless. That's why he gets sent off all the time. But when you saw blood coming out of his eye like that, it
Oof.
looked really, really
I couldn't believe
nasty.
he went back on,
No,
and
I,
then
I
you
was
think
surprised by that. Yeah.
I feel like he shouldn't have been going back on because yeah, it looked nasty. I can't imagine he's in too good a way today.
No, poor bloke.
Thought he was playing well as well.
Yeah, I thought he played well first off. I mean, very difficult for all the Wales players. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that later on. When you're on the back foot and getting absolutely pummeled, nobody's going to stand out really. But I thought Wayno did okay, as did some of the Dragons boys. But like I said, we'll discuss that in a bit. And then some sad news, I'm afraid. in the week. Former Wales and Newport captain Spike Watkins has died, aged 73. One of Gwent Rugby's greatest and most colourful characters. Mike Watkins was born in Abercarn. He played his rugby for Crumlin, Cardiff, Newport Barbarians, and Wales. He won 4 caps for Wales in 1984, and he captained Wales on his debut against Ireland, aged 32. He played 229 games for the Black and Ambers before hanging up his boots in 1987. And then later in life, Watkins emigrated to Thailand, working in PR and settling down with his school teacher wife. So, yeah, very sad news. Like I said, one of Gwent Rugby's most colourful and controversial characters. There was a minute silence held at Ronnie Parade on Friday night before the Leinster game, and rightly so. So, any thoughts on that, Gav? I know Spike Watkins is, a different generation ahead of our time, but you must have heard the stories that your
I've heard the
family
stories
have told.
numerous times from my old
Yeah,
man, and he's decided to sort of retell them all recently. But yeah, he certainly seemed a colourful character. I think my old man was saying to me, they'd bring on oranges at half time because you wouldn't go into the change rooms at half time, and if we were losing, you'd tell the person carrying them to fuck off and go away. And
yeah,
he was it the one the old man always tells me is we were playing on Boxing Day, and I think we had Newbridge at home. And we were winning. I think we are giving them a bit of a tonking. There was a line out in front of the terrace, and he just turned to the crowd, Spike, and just went, "Not bad for Boxing Day, eh, lads?" And sort of then chucked the ball in. So yeah, he seemed like a good character, and you don't often hear of someone captaining the country on their first cap. So he must have certainly had a bit about him, which was pretty
32
impressive.
as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm,
waited patiently for it, but yeah, he certainly seemed like he was a bit of a legend. So, but yeah, before
yeah.
my time, so never actually seen him play.
No, he was one of those rugby rebels, like Dave Bish and
Yeah,
Jeffy, but he was hard as nails, that guy. Like, have you ever read his autobiography
I
at
haven't.
all?
No.
He loved a scrap, and like people I speak to about Mike Watkins, they say he was hard as nails. He was tough as teeth. You did not mess with him. He was a very nasty guy on the rugby field, a lovely bloke, but he was a
The type of player we love
hell of a character.
in
Like,
in
yeah,
Gwent and down in Newport, isn't it?
oh, absolutely, yeah. So sad news, and
Yeah,
sincere condolences to Mike's friends and family.
yeah.
Right, let's move on to what happened on Friday night then. Dragons 10, Leinster 24. A very spirited performance by the men of Gwent, I thought, against the defender champions, who had 10 internationals in their team and a double World Cup winner on the bench. It's a nice luxury to have, isn't it? With just 5 minutes left on the clock, it was only a 7-point game. But a controversial decision and an RG Snyman pouncing on a Hugh Anderson error denied Dragons a well-deserved bonus point. And so it ended 24-10 to Leinster, a scoreline which flatters Leinster, in my opinion, and doesn't really reflect our performance. It was a tough one to take because we could have and should have got something out of that game. Gareth, let's start with you then. So, Ashton Hewitt said that was the best performance of the season so far. Do you agree?
Oh, in many ways, yeah, because we showed so much grit, and we did, like you said, we deserved something out of that game. I left feeling quite proud. Typical Dragons fashion. You go to a game where you've got zero expectations, and then you leave absolutely devastated. They lured us in and gave us that hope. Uh, how we came away with 0 points is honestly beyond me. I think every player worked their bollocks off. I think we showed Leinster no respect, and that's exactly the sort of team we should be at home. We should be getting into teams. Angus O'Brien, like not to single people out because I think everyone really put their bodies on the line, but Angus O'Brien, I thought had his best game in a Dragon shirt, or certainly since his first season with us. His kicking, I thought, was immense. His touch finders were
Yeah.
absolutely stunning, and he was generally pretty good under the high ball as well in pretty difficult conditions. And thought the back row, the balance were really good. And Big Mac just he did not stop carrying. He was just absolutely immense. He was really taking the fight to them and give us a sort of a focal point. There was periods I thought we dominated, and Leinster were picking up yellow cards because we were putting so much pressure on them, and we probably didn't get quite enough points during that period of the first half of dominance, and when they had their cards. But we were playing well against a good Leinster side. A lot of people have said, "Oh, a second or 13, 10 internationals, mate, double World Cup winner on the bench." Like that was a good Leinster side, and
It was, yeah.
they had moments of quality. Um, there were still a few negatives. I think the scrum just got annihilated. It was a tough day there. The line out was pretty poor. I think, being some experienced players down, that didn't help with the set piece, but we did get tested there. But all those players did sort of hold their own in the loose. And I got to say again, our backs play. It wasn't a brilliant night for it, but Leinster still spread the ball and got a bit width on it. And I could notice live, like they were getting set into their positions to attack so much quicker than when we had the ball. When we had the ball, we looked really slow for our
Yeah,
line to get sort of set. And you just think, well, that's always going to be easy to defend against. Great then, like people like Mac were getting over the game line. But then the next phase, we weren't really doing a lot off it. And you think, well, you've got a good platform there. Why aren't we able to capitalize on it? So that was a little bit frustrating, to be honest. We've got one of the best attacking talents, I think, in Wales in Hugh Anderson. We do not give him the ball. We don't give him the ball at all. No wonder he dropped that kick at the end. His hands must have been frozen. He hadn't had a touch all day. And you're like, I think we need to implement systems where we're getting these players on the ball. I know we were quite pragmatic in our approach, a lot of kicking, which I think was right. We put Leinster under pressure that way. But there are times when you need to get your game breakers on the ball and maybe be a little bit braver when we were down in their half to spread it and give people like Hugh Anderson a chance to really go at someone and see if he can, create something or score a try. So all in all, I thought we played really well. We really stood up and fought for each other. And the crowd really got into it as well, which was good to see. The noise at the end was, that's how I remember Rodney Parade games being. Lots of noise, getting on the back of Leinster, getting on top of the ref a bit, rightly so. Because I think, was it 10-7 at halftime, Jimmy?
it was.
It
Yeah, I
was,
think
yeah.
so.
And I think if we were known a few years ago, if we were winning 10-7 at halftime, we'd have been screaming at the Leinster players going off the pitch, right? We're having you. But there wasn't that belief in the crowd because we don't win games. The crowd were like, oh, we're doing well. But we didn't really feel like we were going to carry it on. But fair play, credit to the boys, we did carry it on and we were in that fight to the very end. So the crowd then did go, shit, we're in this. And the noise level went up a notch. So that's what a night of Rodney Parade should be like for me. So yeah, I enjoyed it, thought we played well. What did you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, same as you. I mean, I think you make a really good point about the attack, and this is something that me and Dad talked about at the game as well. When you watched Leinster attack, and maybe we shouldn't compare because these teams are in different worlds completely in terms of resources, budget, quality of play, etc. But
Yeah.
when they attacked, when they had the ball, it looked fluid, didn't it? It looked
Yes.
easy, you know. They looked comfortable. And then when I watched the Dragons attack, it looks stodgy, it looks clunky. Again, wild passes, a little
Oh,
bit
yeah.
desperate. And that's just a sign of a team that's low on confidence, I think. Our attack is a big problem. We have said it almost every pod. It
Yeah.
is a real big problem. I think it's letting down the team. But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was a really good performance. It surprised me. I wasn't as optimistic as you when we spoke in the pub before the game. I thought it was going to be a 30, 40 pointer, you know. Um, but I was surprised. I was genuinely surprised. It was really pleasing to see, and it was a good atmosphere, as you say. Um, I just want to see us play like that every week. Why can't we play like that every week?
Yeah.
We knew we had to play well against Leinster. Well, why can't we have that same mindset against every team every week? I think that's my frustration. We can't get away though from what was a huge talking point of that game. A game, well, an incident which I think turned the game on its head, quite frankly. Scott Penny's headshot on Levi Douglas. This has been a huge talking point on social media, really big debate, and pretty much 99% of people that I've seen are all agreeing that it should have been a penalty or a yellow card. So let's not forget Scott Penny. Scott Penny was already on a yellow card when it happened. He puts a shoulder to the head on Levi Douglas. Now, Morne Ferreira, the South African ref, said he didn't see it as foul play because Penny was always upright. He was in a legal position and was going to wrap. That was his reasoning, right? Craig Evans, the assistant referee, didn't push back on it. He agreed with him, as well as the TMO. They all agreed with the ref.
Bottled it.
Angus quite rightly was furious. Like he was saying, shoulder to the head. You're telling me that's not foul play? Yeah, that's what he kept saying. Shoulder to the head. It's foul play. It's foul play. But they were like, no, it's not foul play. He's upright. He's in the position, and he was always going to wrap. And regular listeners will know that I don't like criticizing referees. I don't like to call them out. But you know, sometimes you have to, and it's got to be said. I thought we were shafted. I don't normally use language like that when I'm talking about referees, but I thought they shafted us. That should have been a yellow card and a penalty,
Yeah.
and they bottled it. Morne Frere, Craig Evans, and the TMO, they bottled it. And that's just completely unacceptable. And I do question if it happened the other way round. If Levi Douglas put in a shoulder on one of their players, would he get away with it? Probably not. I'm not doing this thing that a lot of supporters do where they say the league is corrupt and the referees are corrupt. I'm not saying that, but it's the perception bias that I think a lot of officials have. The big teams always get the big decisions go their way. And this was one occasion. I thought they bottled it. They
Yeah.
absolutely bottled it, the referee. So what did you make of it, Gav? Were we shafted by this decision?
100%. I mean, I don't even think it was a debate. It was, we were in the crowd, and obviously we were all shouting TMO, and then he's looking at it. And, because you're there, you're in that moment, you're tense. And my old man sort of turned to me and went, if you were watching this and it was two other teams, you'd just say he's obviously off. Because you take that tension away, it's a clear decision. He's gone. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. He's going. We're gonna be a man up on their line with a penalty with X amount of time left to go and win this game, hopefully, or at least get the draw, get something out of it. And I was absolutely gobsmacked. And yeah, like, is it perception bias? Is it not wanting complaints going in from the big bulls of Leinster? It's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? He did absolutely bottle it. I can't see how he said he's tried to wrap the arms, because every angle you see is a shoulder to the head. And also, if he has tried to wrap his arms, we didn't do a very good job because he shouldered him in the head. You're like, I don't care what he's tried to do. You could say Wainwright tried to wrap his arm. No, he shouldered him in the head. For Wales, that's, it happens. It doesn't mean it was malicious, but he shouldered him in the head. It was plain as day. He should have been straight off. I mean, a yellow anyway, because it would have been his second, wouldn't it? And there wasn't that long left. And I just feel we were absolutely robbed of a chance to really go and get the draw and potentially win a game and claim a huge scalp. And I feel like that decision just absolutely knocked the life out of us, took the wind out of our sails. And rightly so, Angus O'Brien was livid, and I really felt for him. After the game he had as well, I thought he led us really well. And you're like, you deserved something out of that game. And it's been taken away from you by a shocking decision. It's not even a debate of was it the wrong decision. It was the wrong decision. It's unquestionable for me.
Yeah. I mean, there was mitigation because Douglas is dipping. So I've seen people say that's a red. I don't think it was a red because, like I said, there is mitigation. But even if you don't think it should have been a yellow card, it should have been a penalty at the very least. That should have been a penalty. I watched it back several times and I just can't believe it. And the more I watch it back, the more angry I get because we were absolutely shafted by that decision. It was only a 7-point game at that stage with 5 minutes left. Imagine now, I'm not saying Dragons would have won, right? I'm not saying that at all. But we could have got a bonus point out of it. And that would have been a really good result. And that is what we deserved. We deserved a losing
at
bonus
a
point.
minimum.
At the very least, we deserved a bonus point because we had Leinster well on the ropes at that point. And it's
Could
a
have been a
huge decision.
third draw, which would have been crazy mind, wouldn't it?
Well, it's better than losing, isn't it? It's not great drawing games. It's better than a loss. It would have been a match point, a crucial match point. But it was taken away from us. It was robbed. We were robbed. It's just absolutely appalling. I watched the game back and they had Ian Madigan on commentary with Ashton Hewitt.
Yeah.
And the very grating Premier Sports commentator, Martin Gillingham. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but there's something about this commentary that really grates on me. I wish he stopped mentioning the fact that the last time we won was against Ospreys in September 2024. He keeps mentioning it all the time. You're like, shut up, Martin. We know when the last time we won. I don't need you, mate, banging on about it. Honest to God, he gets on my tits. But Ian Madigan, who, to be fair, was very balanced and very good on the commentary. This is what he said. bearing in mind he's a former Leinster player as well. For me, that's a minimum penalty, and I would argue a yellow card. The law says it's on the defending player to avoid head contact. There is force behind that as well. There is head contact, and it is clear. It's a clear penalty. He's spot on. And it's interesting, when I looked on social media, a lot of Leinster fans, to be fair to them, a lot of them saying, we got away with one there. They all agreed that we should have had a penalty or a yellow card. And a lot of Irish journalists as well were saying the same thing about consistency. I know the referee has, robbed us, and it's a sickener. It's a sickening one to take, isn't it? Yeah, I just,
It's gutting now, even talking about it again. I just feel absolutely devastated. As a fan, I'm devastated, but I feel devastated for those players who literally gave everything, and they deserved at least a point out of that game. And they deserved the opportunity to have the chance to go on and win that game.
Yeah, we don't know whether that would have happened or not,
No, but they deserved the opportunity
yeah,
to go for it.
yeah,
And we were denied that opportunity. It then went to a scrum, and the rest is history, isn't it? So
yeah, exactly. But I'm not seeing anyone as of yet try and say or argue that was the right decision. Like I said, all the Leinster fans I saw on social media were up in arms about it. They couldn't believe it. The Irish journalists, obviously a lot of Welsh supporters as well. Yeah, it's a huge turning point in that game. Like I said, with only 5 minutes left, a 7 point game, anything could have happened, and
yeah,
we were denied, we were robbed, and it
I
makes me
I
quite
would
angry
say
actually.
we were robbed, and I am absolutely livid. But for those on X, I would probably avoid actually tagging in the ref with your comments. There's probably no need for that personally, but
Yeah, absolutely.
so I'll
Yeah,
just put that out there.
yeah. Don't be tagging in referees and giving them abuse.
Yeah.
But you can understand why
Oh,
URC gets a really bad
yes.
reputation for its officiating. And I've always stuck up for the URC. I do think it's a good league. It's a very flawed league. It's a very flawed league. It's very messy, but it is a good standard. But the officiating has been a problem. Even when you go back as far as the Guinness Pro 12 days, it was always a problem. This league has always suffered from poor officiating.
Yeah.
And we saw another example of that on Friday night. But you know what the most frustrating thing is? Morne Frere actually had a good game up until that point.
Yeah,
I
he won
watched the game
both.
back, and to be fair, all the decisions that went for us and against us, I had no complaints with. The ref had a good game right until that point. And that's what makes it even more frustrating. He had such a good game, but then he completely bottled that decision.
Stinking, isn't it?
It
It's
is.
just, yeah, it's almost lost for words, devastated. On the league being good as well, though, like, get to see RG Snyman. That's absolute class. I've been telling everyone. It's like he was an absolute freak when he walked down the touchline because he was on the bench. I was shouting at him, "Who are you? Who are you?" Um, he's he's massive. Like, it's not often you just be like, "Wow, look at him." He looked like he could have just reached into the terrace and just squeezed my head and just popped me like a tomato or something. He's an
Yeah.
absolute monster. He's pretty good when he come on as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he weren't bad. I mean, imagine having the luxury of just bringing off a double World Cup winner off your bench like that. It's not a bad thing at all, is it?
Unbelievable.
It
Yeah.
just shows the different worlds that these two teams live in. But you are right. That is the good thing about the URC. The fact that Archie Steinman is running out the Rodney Parade. Like, there he is on our doorstep. World
It's
class, right?
crazy. It's like, what's he doing?
And take it from me, as anyone knows who's watched them live, he is massive. He's a monster. He is
Yeah,
absolutely huge. And
he
he's a
is a
very
freak.
good player. He is a very, very good player. And I'm glad now he seems to have got over his injury issues because when he was at Munster, he was
Yeah.
constantly getting injured all the time. It must be a bit sickening though if you're a Munster fan because, okay, I know he
Yeah.
helped you win the title, like on that little run they had in the playoffs. He came back just at the
Yeah,
right
he
time,
did.
didn't he?
Yeah.
And then they ended up winning the URC, which
Yeah.
was the season where we beat them with Ronnie Parade, funny enough. So, yeah. And then he's gone to Leinster and everyone's like, oh, well, you barely played for him. But to be fair, he's not getting injured, is he?
No. He's been well looked
Been
after
great
as
there.
well, and he's on the bench even in
Mm.
some of the bigger games. He holds the ball like it's a raisin. It's just crazy to
But he's
watch him.
quick as well. Like when Hugh Anderson dropped that ball,
Yeah.
like he shot off to this. Like he was fast.
Yeah,
He
he's
was
gone.
really fast. But yeah, I wish we hadn't seen him at Rodney Parade in many ways because he did
Yeah,
go off the bench and he did make
yeah,
a big impact, as you would expect from a player of that caliber. But it was nice to see, like, we get to see these world-class players. That's the
yeah,
beauty of the URC.
yeah,
We've got World Cup winners, we've
definitely.
got world-class players, but there is an ugly side to the URC and the officiating, I'm afraid. I mean, when I was on rap, we were constantly talking about how poor the officiating is, and it got boring, and that's why I never like talking about it. But I'll really call out any poor
Well,
officiating. But I had to on this occasion because I do feel the officiating was good up until that point, and then it became substandard, and you know they bottled it.
yeah,
That
well,
the biggest decision they had to make, and they absolutely bottled it.
yeah, and like in the last World Cup and the next World Cup, the refs getting all the big games, they're not going to be URC refs, which I think shows the level of our refereeing.
Mm. It was really disappointing, but
Yeah,
yeah.
not good.
So we've covered that. I think a lot of people, and look, there'll always be someone who disagrees. I'm sure we'll have someone in the comment section saying that it was the right decision. It absolutely wasn't, but go ahead, mate. If you think you can argue that point, go ahead. But they're wrong, of course. Pretty much everyone said should have been at the very least. If you don't think it was a yellow card, it had to be a penalty at the very least. But we
Yeah,
didn't even get that. And he should have gone. Like I say, he was already on a yellow. He should have gone. He got away with murder. But hey ho, that's the way it goes, isn't it? What have I got written in my notes? Good atmosphere of Rodney Parade again. I think the atmosphere has been good. We're not winning games, but people are still turning up and they're still making noise,
yeah,
and that's good.
and we are better this season. That was the first home game where we haven't taken a point away from it. Two draws. I mean, I feel like if we're winning games, the perception of that game changes. You go, oh, we're doing well. Yeah, we pushed Leinster, but because it's another loss, it's still disappointing. But I don't think we're that far away.
No, um, I don't know if you saw this as well. There was a lot of South Africans there on Friday night. There was quite a few in the Bisley. Were there any over on the terrace?
Oh, I didn't notice any South Africans. I'm guessing they're a nice little double header for them on the weekend. There was a
Yeah,
couple of
it
Leinster as well, but
it looks like they made a weekend of it. They probably
yeah,
stayed in
that's
Cardiff
all
or
right, isn't it?
Newport and then come and see this game and then go to Cardiff. Yeah, but there was quite a few South Africans there. I noticed that.
Oh,
So
fair play.
they probably all came from London, of course, but still, it was, it's
Yeah,
nice to have, away support, I guess, because we complain we don't have it.
yeah,
Mackenzie Martin, that is the best performance I've seen so far, whether it be for Cardiff, Wales, or Dragons. I thought he was outstanding.
that's fair. Yeah.
Top carrier for the Dragons, 12 carries, seven defenders beaten, more than any
Oof.
other player on the field. That felt like a coming of age performance. And look, I don't know what's gone wrong at Cardiff. I know they keep saying, "Oh, but we had Botham, but we had Lawrence, we had Fato." The fact is, his development went backwards at Cardiff.
Yeah.
That's what happened. He's come to us. He looks rejuvenated. Maybe he will go back to Cardiff. I don't know, but he clearly is a big talent.
Yeah.
It just needs to be nurtured properly, and hopefully we can do that. He seems pretty happy here. I don't know, but I
He
thought he was excellent on Friday
he
night.
was amazing. He really put it back. If everyone was fit, we've got some big home games coming up. Do you start him? Do you go for Wainwright at 6, or do you have Mac on the bench for impact?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I think it's horses for courses. It depends
Who
on the
we're playing?
opposition as well,
Yeah,
you know. But
because Wainwright for me is undroppable. He's world class for me, but he's
oh, of
he's
course, yeah,
top class. But he can move to 6, can't he?
he can, yeah,
Or 7,
absolutely,
really, especially at
yeah.
club level.
But yeah, I was really pleased with Mackenzie Martin. And you too, you and Gavin, you were skeptical when we signed him. It was
Yeah,
me
it
saying, look,
was. Yeah,
we got
fair
there's a
play.
player there, and everyone was saying, oh, he's lost his way at Cardiff, he's overrated. And I was like, no, listen, there is a player there. And I
Yeah,
believe
fair
that. And we
play.
saw it on Friday night. The carries he was making. He's a
Oh,
he's a big guy. He's huge.
yeah,
And Welsh rugby are lacking big men. As we
yeah.
saw against South Africa, we're underpowered. And if he can kick on now, Welsh rugby needs it, whether he's at the Dragons or Cardiff. We need guys like Mackenzie Martin, big guys, to really
Yeah,
step up now and start, proving their worth. But yeah,
he looked
very
like he really
impressive.
wanted it, didn't he? He had that bit of anger about him.
Well, it was a big opportunity for him to start it against Leinster, and he took it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
was really,
definitely.
really impressed with him. Fair play. Thomas Young was very good again. Top
Yeah.
tackler, 21 tackles,
Oof.
only two turnovers. You expect a little bit more than that, but we didn't really turn over Leinster's ball. We didn't slow their ball down enough, I thought. But a very good performance. If he can stay fit, he's going to be a very good player for us. Yeah, you mentioned the scrum earlier. Dylan Keller-Griffiths had a difficult night, didn't he? Poor guy. So he had a warning
Yeah,
from the ref after just 70 minutes. There's three scrum penalties the first quarter. And to be honest, it wasn't a surprise to see him taken off at half time. I did feel for him. He was coming up against Thomas Clarkson, who is an Irish international, to be fair. And I've seen comments from some sports saying, well, why did we start him? Why didn't we just start Wyn Jones? But I think, well, the kid's got to learn. The only way you're going to learn is coming up against the best teams. We can't keep wrapping kids in cotton wool. I'm sure every prop goes through this, don't they? They all have
exactly.
their days
And
where they have an off day in a scrum. And Dylan's got to learn. I think he's a fantastic talent. I think he's a really good prospect. But he had a difficult night. So what? He'll learn from it.
yeah, he's going to learn more there than playing in the SRC, isn't he? And he has
Yeah.
definitely got a high ceiling, so
Yeah.
he needs that chance.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just one of those things that that's the thing with youngsters. You have got to go through a bit of pain, But yeah, he'll bounce back for him, I'm sure.
Yeah,
The set piece did let us down on Friday night, though, and the stats are pretty damning. So the scrum win percentage was just 67%. That's way
it
below
didn't
where it
feel
should
like
be.
that either. Didn't feel that high.
It's yeah, it was a very difficult night, scrum wise. And if you haven't got a scrum, then your chances of winning are very, very remote. No scrum, no win, as they always say. Line out percentage as well. The line out wasn't great, was there 69%, you know. So not great. It's really hard to win games when you haven't got a set piece, especially when you're coming up against teams like Leinster. It's so important. So yeah,
A couple
not a
of
great night.
critical moments with the line out as well. One there, we had a couple close to their line, some
Yeah,
good Angus kicks, and yeah,
yeah.
couldn't capitalise.
Yeah, but look, overall, it was a very good performance. It's a very spirited and gutsy performance. As I said, that's the type of performance I want to see from this group of players every week. And we did a lot of good things. Yes, the attack is still not right. I don't think it ever will be until the change is made, if I'm being honest. It is what
Yeah,
it is. Leinster did concede 17 penalties, and a lot of those were down to us putting pressure on them.
yeah,
We did get under their skin. We got shafted over bonus point, and that's really annoying. But there were a lot of positives to take from that performance. And look, were we ever going to win this game? Probably not. But were we competitive? Yes. Did we put Leinster under pressure? Yes. Um, I was pleased. I
yeah.
came away from Ronnie Parade. Normally, I want to punch someone or something because I get so annoyed at this team.
Yeah,
And even though I was frustrated by that decision, I come away from Ronnie Parade for once thinking we did well today.
yeah,
I'm satisfied with that. And it's been a long time since, even the draws against the Sharks and the Ospreys, I came away annoyed because we should have won. It's a different kind of frustration. But coming away from that game where my expectations were so low, I come away thinking, do you know what? Yeah, I feel a little bit more hopeful. The only thing I will say, though, I still don't really know where the wins are going to come from. I know we're making progress, we're more competitive, but you look what happened on the weekend. Now, Scarlets beat Glasgow. Big win for Scarlets. Did not see that coming. They're only a point behind us now in the league. And then I look at our fixtures, and even if you say to me, well, there's Zebra, there's Scarlets, maybe call it, is 2 or 3 wins going to be enough to keep Dragons off the bottom when everyone else is improving? Because the Scarlets will improve. And I
yeah,
don't know, I'm pleased with the performances. I do think we're getting better, but I still can't see where the wins are going to come from. And that's my problem, I think. We haven't won for a very long time. As Martin Gillen keeps telling us on Premier Sports, September 2024, it's an awful long time. And I don't know, I don't want to end on a negative like this, but I can see performances are improving, but I still can't see where the wins are coming from.
yeah.
Can,
It
can you
takes
can you
more than
see?
just a few signings, doesn't it, to really turn a team around from where we were last season.
Yeah, but can you see where the wins are coming from for you?
Yes.
You can't. Oh, you would say that, wouldn't you? Of course. Why did I even
I
ask you,
was
Mr.
thinking, do I
Positive?
bother saying now that? But yeah, I think we're going to win 3 of our next 4 games, and that is an outrageous claim on paper for the Dragons. But I feel like it's been simmering away. 2 draws, like that is very close. We were shafted against Leinster. Not that we might not have gone on to win, but we should have been there or thereabouts. I think we've got some games coming up where if we put in that level of fight, plus add in a little bit more quality with players like Wainwright coming back as well, and others, then yeah, I think we can get some wins. I think we are showing a bit of grit, and I think we've got better players on the field this season than we did last season.
Mm. But the injuries are piling up again, though. That's my only
Yeah, I
concern as
think the
well.
injuries is a concern, and in rugby, I mean, it goes without saying, but you have to score points to win games, and rugby at the moment is quite high scoring to win games, and our attack is poor. You're not going to beat a team scoring 10 points.
And De
It's not
Beer,
enough.
absolutely. And De Beer, look, I think he's been a good signing. I like De Beer a lot. And he's got a fantastic commitment. Like for a small guy, he
Yeah,
don't give a shit. He gets stuck in.
yeah,
And
he
I
really
really
does.
like that. But his goal kicking, man, is just not. This is the same problem that we've had now for a number of years. And David Wright told us in the Q&A, he's saying the goal kicker.
Bollocks.
David Buttress said on this podcast, we signed, what was it, a clutch kicker, he said?
Yes.
Wasn't that the word to use, clutch kicker? No, David and David, we haven't signed a goal kicker. We haven't signed a clutch kicker. We've signed a good fly half, someone who can control a game and run it well, take the ball
Yeah.
to the line, but we still haven't got a goal kicker. That problem
Yeah.
has not been resolved. So, yeah, it's just
Well, we did sign one. He's
that's the
just
problem.
bloody coaching, isn't he? Patrol.
Oh, that was never going to happen. Gavin, bless him, he wanted that to happen so
He
bad. He was
really did. Yeah, I thought
desperate for us to
I
sign
had to say
Patrick.
that just for Gav.
Yeah, he was desperate to sign him, bless him. But anyway, let's take a look what our listeners said. So we asked our listeners to get in touch, see what they thoughts on the game. So Owen Barrett said, "Can't fault the effort. We matched them physically. Our attack needs work now. You can definitely see improvement. That decision was stupid from the ref. That instant turned the game. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about
Yeah.
the ref decision, as you would expect. Darren Elgar said, a performance to be proud of. The team give everything they had. Joseph Moss says, felt like a bit of life returned to Ronnie Parade on Friday night. Shame about the poor ref decision as it took all momentum away from us.
Yep.
Stuart Miles said, huge improvement against experienced opponents, and the score did not reflect the performance. No, it didn't. It really didn't reflect their efforts. Previous seasons, he said it would have been 40 points plus. Yeah, I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Nick Webb, friend of the pod, Nick Webb, BBC journalist, he got in touch and said defence was mostly decent. Mackenzie Martin carried well. Need to see him alongside Wainwright, something you've been saying. O'Brien should do all the kicking to touch and at goal. I think he should now. I mean, he's not been the best at kicking a goal either, in fairness, but I think it's clear to see that De Beer is not the goal kicker that we desperately wanted, unfortunately. Tackle incident, he said, was ludicrous. He says maybe the ref was trying to make up for giving Dragons first half penalties. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me, but that's the perception. But that's the perception bias coming in again, isn't it? And I do think that is an actual thing. You see it in all sports. You see it in football, in NFL. The big teams always get away with the big decisions. The underdogs really do. Nick Foyle says the win is coming. Yes, but when, Nick? When? When is the win coming? David Bond said could have been another draw, but for some stupid ref and frustrating. But it is looking much better. That wasn't a very encouraging performance. Dino's got in touch. Oh dear, let's see what Dino's got to say. He said, well, I used to think the Scottish refs were the worst. I was wrong. It's now South Africans. Okay, no comment to that, Dino. Graham Chevelle says, if there is an opportunity to do it, I think we should sign Mackenzie Martin ASAP. Yes, we should.
Yep.
We really should. He's class. I love him. Greg Carter, friend of the pod. Hello, Greg. I thought it was one of our strongest performances of the season. Line breaks, phase play. I could see what we were trying to do. But for that one decision, we should have got something from the game. It's a sickener that we didn't. The boys deserved the result. Yeah, fair enough. Ben Stradlin says, best I've seen the Dragons play in a long time. The end result could easily have been different, but for one decision by the ref. And then finally, Calvin Hunt says, real progress being made. Keep it going, boys. So there's a lot of positivity from the listeners after that performance, and rightly so. I think that was a performance to be proud of. I just want to end this on a comment I saw on X on Friday night from a Stormers fan who was at the game. So he replied to the Dragons admin on X, when they posted the final score.
Yeah.
I don't know I think you did see this because you retweeted it, I think. This is what he said. So this is from Boca Jeffro, the account was called.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And this is what he wrote. As a Stormers fan visiting Wales, it was awesome to be at Ronnie Parade tonight. Lovely stadium, awesome fans, and a great atmosphere. The beginnings of a solid team. Keep your heads up and keep grinding away. The results will come. I thought that was very classy because I know South
Yeah,
Africans get a bad rep on social media and some of them are downright
fair play.
awful. I'm sorry, but there are some South Africans on social media are downright awful. But there are some good eggs, and I thought that was a very classy comment to make. So I'm glad, Jeffro, that you enjoyed your time at Ronnie Parade. And you're welcome back as well. It's great. Let's get more people through the gates and
Nowhere
enjoy
better to
some.
watch rugby than Rodney Parade.
Absolutely
Fantastic.
not.
I love it.
Yeah, I just thought that was a classy comment, and yeah, I'm
Yeah, very
glad.
nice.
Yeah, because they were, like I said, there were a few South Africans around me and the Bisley anyway. So yeah, good stuff. I thought that was nice.
Hmm.
Right, moving on to. So we had positives in Newport and we had pain in the capital, didn't we?
Oh,
So I said on this pod last week, there's a possibility that South Africa put 60, 70 points on us. And you, Gareth, said 70 points.
yeah.
I went back and listened. You did say 70 points. And unfortunately, we were both right.
I just thought we
Wales,
would score some points as well, though.
yes. Wales 0, South Africa 73. Oh dear. It was Wales's record home loss in terms of the most points conceded and the biggest margin of defeat. It was the second biggest defeat in Wales's history, with a 96-13 defeat, also against South Africa, top in the list. I remember watching that at home as a 14-year-old, thinking it can't get much worse than this. But I was watching Saturday and it took me back to that moment, watching South Africa putting 96 points on us. Yeah, not great. It was the first time Wales failed to score in a home test in Cardiff since 1967. I stress in Cardiff because I know we did lose to France 51-0, didn't we, in the late 90s, early 2000s. But in Cardiff, this was the first time that we got nilled since the 60s. Both teams were depleted. There were about 13 players due to this match taking place outside World Rugby's designated test window. But it was a mismatch, wasn't it? The difference in strength, quality, depth was clear to see. South Africa had 899 caps in their squad. How many do you think Wales had?
200?
306.
306.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very rotated South African side as well, isn't it?
And yet it was still packed with absolute quality
Jeez.
and experience. And it just shows
Their depth.
how incredible this South Africa team is, the squad, the depth. And people can say what they like about Rassie Erasmus, whether you like him or not. Since he took charge, when South Africa rugby was in the pits, my God, he has done an outstanding job, hasn't he? They could
Yes.
probably field 3 or 4 teams now of absolute quality, test quality. The
Yeah.
depth is insane,
Undoubtedly
absolutely
number
insane.
one in the world, aren't they?
Oh, they're the best by considerable distance. Outstanding team, outstanding coachings. Yeah, like I said, whether you like Radzi or not, you have to take your hat off to what he's done there.
Yeah.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. In terms of the game itself, I mean, it's hard to know where to start with this, Gareth. I mean, what did you make of it?
I mean, from a Welsh perspective, like there wasn't, we spent most of the game just under our posts. So like there's not that much to really go by. Like we never got anything going in attack. Physically, we weren't there. I mean, in defense, like hats off to Wainwright, could stand up to the physicality, and I think he can really slow up an attacker when they run at him, even the big Saffers. But beyond that, like people worked hard, but it's just not enough, is it? It just we looked like a tier two nation. I mean, the scoreline says it all. It got to the point though where I didn't even care when they were running in tries. You just thought, whatever. And we never really looked like scoring. Like you should never watch a Wales game and not be on the edge of your seat. And the game was just sort of passing me by, to be honest. Because yeah, not too enjoyable watching Wales at the minute, is it? This is what fans in Wales now are experiencing, is what we've experienced for a while being Dragons fans. Just getting absolutely pummeled by bigger and better sides, isn't it?
Yeah, and like when they're taking positive, some heavy defeats.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I feel like saying to these Wales fans, like, yeah, we've been doing that for years as Dragons fans, so we're used to it now. It might be
Yeah.
a new experience for you, but for us, it's what we've been doing for years.
Yeah.
you know. Oh, it was so grim, wasn't it? It was so grim. And do you know what the saddest part is? You knew he was coming. It wasn't a shock. It wasn't a surprise. You knew they were going to rack up 60, 70 points.
Yeah,
In terms of the Dragons, boys, I thought Aaron Wainwright worked incredibly hard. I thought he was good in the first half. He was getting through a lot of work. Um,
yeah,
Rio barely had the ball when he did. I thought he was lively. He did put in one really good tackle on the fullback in the first half.
yeah.
In the corner. I don't know if you remember that one. That was really good. He worked hard, Rio, but same problem at the Dragons. He didn't get the ball. He's on the
Good
back
kick
foot.
chase as well, wasn't he? Putting
Yeah,
pressure on. Yeah,
he worked hard. He
he
worked
always
hard.
works hard, doesn't he, Rio?
Ben Carter tried his best in a pack that was just absolutely decimated and pummeled. He didn't have a bad game, Ben Carter, but he didn't really make an impact or stand out because he was just
No.
in a pack that got
Cons-
absolutely bullied.
Considering the scoreline, he didn't really make any mistakes, did he? He wasn't caught out and
No.
making errors and missing tackles. We were just pummeled. Yeah, I thought he, in some ways, acquitted himself well, but also lacked, any momentum changing sort of hits.
Hmm.
But
I
so did
think he
everyone
made
else.
one carry, which I know would be picked up on by a lot of people. But I mean, again, Ben Carter's not a ball carrier anyway. But
No.
I, no, he did a lot of good stuff. He tried his best, but like I said, when you're in a pack that's absolutely getting bullied and destroyed like that, it's just very, very difficult, isn't it?
It's bad though. I know the South African scrum are destroying everyone, but you look at that team, you go, well, that's our first choice front row anyway. When was the last time Gareth Thomas actually had a good game for Wales? Yeah,
I like Gareth Thomas a lot, but he's not had a good game for Wales for a little while now.
yeah,
And he's given away some really dumb penalties as well. That's the
yes,
worrying thing.
he's a really good player, and
He
he's
is,
been great for Wales. And you're like,
but Nicky
when
Smith is better.
yeah, when we're struggling, you think, right, you've been there when Wales have been good. You need to stand up and lead. And he's just, yeah, he's not been good. Shouldn't be singling anyone out, to be honest, because as a team we're absolutely smashed. But just
Yeah, it is funny. Like you got people saying, "Oh, it's not the player's fault. No one should come under the criticism." I'm like, yeah, but Tane Plumtree, you know, we could criticize Tane because he got a
yeah,
yellow card again, as did Wainwright, in fairness. But Tane Plumtree is just like I say, he's a liability. He shouldn't be anywhere near the Wales squad. Really difficult day for Dan Edwards. What can you do though, right? If you're a young fly half and you're on the back foot and your pack is destroyed, like people criticizing Dan Edwards online. I'm thinking, what do you expect? Like, you could have a Roman Intermac there. Do you know what I mean? Like, what? You can't do anything.
yeah. If you had
Can't do
swapped the
anything.
tens over, he'd have had a fantastic game for the box.
Yeah.
And I don't think their 10 would have done much for us. It's
Well, you could have had Sasha Feinberg Zulu at 10 for Wales. He won't be doing anything. As talented as he is,
yeah,
you can't do anything if you haven't got any
he'd have
platform.
been getting absolutely smashed beyond the gain line. And yeah,
Mm.
instead he had an absolute armchair ride. I think I could have played 10 and I can't catch or pass. So
Yeah. A tough day for Super Chrissy Coleman. Came on,
yeah,
got absolutely mullered in the scrum, as did all the props, to be fair. Chris
yeah.
wasn't the only one. All the props got mullered, but yeah, he got an absolute tuning at scrum time, the Super Chris, and then he came off injured. Not great.
No.
Uh, and then Brody, yeah, didn't have enough time, did he? Came on, what was
Again,
it,
just
three,
give I
you
know
know,
Lake's one of our more experienced players, but you're like, come on, just give him a bit more time. Like, what were we trying to save by keeping Lake on? Playing him to death. Just give Brody an extra 10. Just think he deserved it. But I'm glad he's got two caps, and I'm sure Brody will get more. He's quality. What I want to see now is someone like Brody come back and play for the Dragons with a bit of confidence that you're an international mate and you are quality, and realise that you are a quality international player. I mean, that's probably hard to do coming out of that Wales camp with the results
well,
we've
that's
had.
the thing. You say come back with confidence. I think there's going to be a lot of scar tissue
Uh,
in our Wales team after that. It's been a very tough campaign. There's been positives.
yeah.
One of the questions I was going to ask you actually, like, what were the positives you take from it, and who were the players that stood out, and they were positives against Argentina. Yeah, we shipped 50 plus points. I was there for that game, but they were positives.
Yeah.
Japan, we should have lost against Japan. We
Yeah, we
shouldn't have
should
even
have.
had we shouldn't have even had a win this autumn. But fair play, they stuck at it. Kudos to Jared Evans, balls of steel. for that penalty. Brilliant.
Well, we
But we
said in the
got
pub, didn't
lucky.
we? We thought Japan deserved it, and you thought, well, fair play if you go on and win this game.
Oh, I wouldn't have minded if Japan, I hate to say it, I am a Wales supporter. I never want to see us lose. But if they won, I would have gone, do you know what? Fair play. Good
Yeah,
on you.
yeah,
You know. Um, New Zealand, again, there were positives there.
yeah.
There were positives, but there were absolutely zero positives to take away from this game. Stadium half empty, but I think it was 50,000 they got there. That's like nearly what, 24,500 spare seats going. Sounded like a really poor flat atmosphere again. Only South Africans making noise. Well, was it worth it? That's the question I would ask. I was asked at WRU. I know this game was scheduled so many years before, then it got delayed with COVID and all this stuff. But given the pain that those players have been through and the scar tissue they're now going to have, was the revenue from that game worth that record score, like that humiliation? That's what I'd say to WRU. Do you really think that was worth it? Because personally, it's hard to see what Wales get out of this apart from a little bit of extra revenue.
Yeah. And presuming Leinster would have picked the same side anyway, because they had their players available and rested plenty, would, having Brody, Carter, Coleman, etc., that would have made a difference to us.
Yeah,
A
I'm not
big
saying we would
difference.
have won, but it would have made a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an absolute shambles. But yeah, no positives whatsoever to take away from that Wales game. But plenty from the autumn, though. I'd say we look like we can actually play ball. Dan Edwards, I think, has been a big positive for me.
I think three players who's really come out of this with credit. I think Dan Edwards,
Yeah,
like he is the natural successor to Dan Bigger now. That's his Welsh 10
that's his
jersey.
spot. Yeah, agreed.
Um, I like Costello a lot, but no. Callum Sheedy, no. Dan's the man for me at 10.
Yeah,
Let's stick with him. I think Alex Mann has been a major plus point. Yes, he is undersized. He is underpowered for Test rugby, but you cannot deny the work he gets through. He's got a hell of an engine on him, that boy. He will tackle his heart out. What he lacks in size, he makes up for with his work rate and other attributes to his game. So I think he comes out of this well. He he was terrible on Saturday, but Kieran Asarati actually had a good series overall. Like he did
yeah,
surprise me. He was up until South Africa decent in the scrum and
yeah.
good in the loose.
He
But yeah,
impressed me. Actually, I was shocked about him.
yeah, we was all worried about the tight end position, wasn't we? With him, Griffin, and Super Chrissy Coleman. But I think he's a positive. I thought Aaron was fine, in the games he played.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah. I
he
thought
worked very hard. Like I said, it's very difficult to stand out in a constantly beaten pack. But
Wayno's always good, isn't he? He's like that
yeah,
level. He's very, very consistent. I mean, he's used to playing in the side where things are crumbling around him anyway, so it's just
yeah,
second nature to
yeah,
him.
it's true. It's absolutely true. And Dav Jenkins had his best ever
Yes,
game for Wales
yeah,
against the All Blacks, and that was a positive. And he was captain in Exeter on the weekend as well. So he's only ever going to get better, isn't he?
yeah, yeah. He did look good. So
But other than that,
there's
it was
stuff to build on in
uh,
there. It's where we're starting from, isn't it? It's like the Dragons. You're not going to go from being horrendous last season to just smash it to beating everyone this season. Like the steps we've taken, getting draws, picking up points. Same with Wales, isn't it? Okay, we've implemented an attack. We're looking a bit better there. Still argue as he got selection right. I still would have Moriarty and Rafael on the flanks, but each to their own.
mm, yeah. What did we really learn from this game as well? Like, I think, if anything, we just learned
Did
that
we learn?
Steve Tandy has a hell of a job on his hands. And I wrote on X, I think personally, we spoke about this as well with Evan Alderman when he was on the show. Remember, I asked him about how
Yes.
long he thinks. I think it's going to take a decade, at least a decade now, to see Wales back to where they were. And what I mean by that is competing for Six Nations championships, Grand Slams, and World Cup semi-finals. I think it'll take a decade. Now, some people replied to me on X saying, no, I think it'll be sooner than that. Others said it could be longer. And somebody else said to me, I don't think we'll ever get back to that level again. But that's my prediction. I think it's going to take at least, and the rugby mad Welsh public, who, a certain generation has been spoiled in a way.
Yeah.
The younger generations were spoiled by the success we had. It wasn't always like that, but they grew up on, didn't they, Grand Slams and all the rest of it, World Cup semi-finals. Um, that's gone now. We haven't got that anymore, and we're not going to have that for a very long time because we are underpowered and we just haven't got the quality of player anymore. That golden generation we had, Alwyn Jones,
Yeah.
Foxy, Jamie Roberts, Ken Owens, all those guys are gone. And what we got now is a generation gap. People are going to have to be patient. But I think Wales are in for, even you could talk about the changes and the governance cutting the team and all that. Even despite all that, I think it's going to take a very long time for Welsh rugby to get back on his feet again, personally.
Yeah. And with that, what do kids want to play at the moment? The Wales are going to be joint hosting the Euros 28 as well. The football's okay. If you're a
Mm.
kid, you're watching Wales football have big nights and it looking good and getting good press, and it's all these heroes. And you watch Wales rugby, you don't watch that on Saturday and go, "Oh, I want to play for Wales." It's not that. You're not going to get that feeling as a kid. So how are you going to get more kids into the pathways when the pathways are sorted anyway? If there's nothing to sort of aspire to, could have a sort of a knock-on effect. Could never get out of that hole. We've always
Yeah.
been a nation that's produced quality over quantity, haven't we? We do need to make the most of it. But yeah, will we get back to being as good as we were? I bloody hope so. But yeah,
I think we will build. I'm saying it's going to take a long time.
yeah.
I think it's going to take a very long time, but hopefully I'm wrong. But
But that's the
that's where
thing, though.
we are
So
now.
we're not
That's
going
where
to
we should be.
suddenly challenge this Six Nations, but at what point do people lose patience, even though factually we know it's not Tandy's fault? We know he's only got certain tools to work with, but at what point do people lose patience? I'm not saying that people should lose patience because we have it at the Dragons. I think we're right in some of our criticism, especially with 3 years with a blunt attack. But my
Mm,
concern is people do need to be patient with Wales and stick by the team.
yeah,
But we do
I,
need
I
to see
I
some sort of growth.
I feel for Tandy.
Yeah.
I think this is an impossible job at the moment. I think we've got talented players. We got very good club players,
Yeah.
but I don't think we got very good international players, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's a really sad
I think
situation,
we
but
just really miss, I don't want to go into too much of it, but we miss having those top foreigners in our club team as well to really show these players what being a top class international is like. Because who is showing that now in any of the regions clubs? Because they're all just in the same shitty mess together.
yeah.
There's no one really being like, well, I've done this, I've won a World Cup. This is what you do.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, Welsh Rugby is signing Curry Cup players, and some of them have turned out to be very, very good, mind. And when you
Yeah,
take
yeah.
punts on some foreign players, they worked out well. But gone are the days where the regions were signing, Ben Blair, Savia Rush, Casey Lala, Ray Lilo. When we had
Collins,
Regan King and all that, yeah, Collins, and
Justin Marshall.
I know the
Come on.
Galacticos. But it all cost money, didn't they? Ospreys, they splashed the cash and they got their
Yeah,
success through it. They brought world class
yeah.
players in Swansea, and yeah, they won league titles, and that helped the development of younger players. But we're not in that position, are we?
No.
We're just not in that position anymore. So those days are long gone now. We're against superstars in the game. Okay, let's move on for that because it's going to depress me a little bit now. But yeah, Wales taking an absolute tuning and some positives from the autumn, but also a realization of where Welsh rugby is. So with Gavin not available on this podcast, there is no Gwent Rugby Roundup, I'm afraid. That's Gavin's baby. I'm not touching it. What I will do, I haven't got time anyway to go through the results in fairness because Gavin does prep. What I will do, I will read out the Super Rugby Cymru results very quickly. So Ebervale continued their impressive form this season with a 38-6 win against Carmarthen Quins at home. Very good result. Eber were flying, didn't they, this season? Fair play to them. And then in the Gwent Derby at Pontypool Park, Newport came out on top, beating Pontypool 17-27. Newport's starting to pick up a bit of form now at the right time. So Ebervale are 3 points clear at the top of the table. Newport are in six, and unfortunately for Pontypool, they are bottom of the Super Rugby Cymru table. Before we move on, speaking of Super Rugby Cymru, did you hear what happened in the Cardiff and Swansea game?
No?
So Cardiff playing Swansea. They were 21-5 up, Cardiff, with just 6 minutes to go. You'd think game over, done and dusted. No, Swansea came back and beat them 21-24. What a capitulation that is, though. Can you imagine if that happened down at that sounds very Dragonsy, doesn't it?
Yeah, do you know what?
21-5 up, 6 minutes to go.
I
That's
don't
the
want to
kind of
laugh
thing
at them.
Dragons
You
would
could be
do.
like, we could do that. We
Yeah.
could.
I read it and I thought, oh my God. I don't like I laughed, but I thought, actually, that's very Dragonsy, doesn't it? But hell of a result for Swansea, and they have massively improved this season. They
Yeah,
really have
fair play to
improved
them.
in
They're going
fairness
well.
to they're going really well. Yeah. But sorry there's no Gwent Rugby roundup. Like I said, Gavin will be back to give you a full roundup when he returns next week.
Maybe Swansea should bid for that West license.
Maybe.
I'm only joking, people. Let's go.
No, they're going well. They're going really well.
Yeah, they are. Fair play.
Yeah. Right then, before we move on, then, just a reminder, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the podcast and help us spread the word. We are available on Apple, Spotify, and we're on the Wrap YouTube channel and all the usual platforms. Follow us on the socials. Get in touch. We are on Facebook, X, and sometimes Blue Sky. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, please, because it helps us out. And if you do, you will get a shout out on the podcast, I promise. So, thank you for your support so far. And help us spread the word. Right then. So, the URC is paused for time being. And now we head into European action as we face Perpignan away in the Challenge Cup. This game is not on TV. This is on EPCR TV, which means you have to pay. It's a pay-per-view. It's been like this now for the past 3 years, I think, isn't it? We've had to pay per game for the Challenge Cup. I just wish a broadcaster would show the games. It's sad. No one cares about the Challenge Cup in the group stages, it seems, until it gets to the knockout stages. But no, S4C aren't covering this game. Premier Sports aren't covering
the
it.
knockout games, they're in the same package as the main cup, aren't they?
Yeah.
Why? Just bloody show them. That is poor, isn't it?
It's really poor. It's frustrating for supporters because now they're going to have to pay, I think it's €7.99. So that works out to what, £7?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to watch this game.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. There's some big teams in that competition, like us. Get it on the box.
I don't think the Challenge Cup gets the respect it deserves anyway. No broadcaster is really giving it any TLC. And I think it's a more interesting competition than the Champions Cup, if I'm being honest.
There's some good games, don't you?
Yeah, and anything can happen in this competition. Whereas I find the Champions Cup to be a little bit predictable. You know, it's going to be Toulouse, Leinster, or know, it seems to be one of those teams, doesn't it? But so we're back in European action. Like I said, no on TV, unfortunately. If you want to watch it, you're going to have to stump up some cash, or maybe you know someone who's got one of those special Fire Sticks. I am not condoning this at all, but if you do know someone, then maybe get in contact with them. So we're playing Perpignan, Gareth, okay?
Yep.
Now, I don't know if you've been watching any top 14. I haven't, because life has gone the way. I just haven't got time to watch all this rugby, right? But I've done a little bit of research on Perpignan. I've been seeing how they've done this season. Now, if you thought the Dragons were struggling, it's not going well for Perpignan either. They are having a very difficult season so far in the top 14. So they have played 11 games and they've won 0. So they've played 11, lost 11. On Saturday, they went away to Cast and they lost 23-7. So it's a battle of two winless teams. A stoppable force meets movable object. That's what we're dealing with here. When you look at their squad, though, they've actually got some good players. Kieran Brooks, very experienced English prop. Former Scotland captain Jamie Ritchie, one of my favourite Scottish players.
Never. Good player, yeah.
They've got the very talented Wallaby Jordan Patea. Know him, Jordan Patea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't know he was there?
He's at Perpignan, yeah. Jefferson Lee Joseph, who's a very talented utility back. And Geronimo de la Fuente, the Argentinian centre. So they have got some very good players at Perpignan. I don't know what's gone wrong. I don't know why they're in this mess, but they're having a really poor season. So you would think that their priority would be top 14 survival, given everything. So, I don't know. Maybe I should try and be positive about this one.
Go on.
Okay, I'm going to be Jamie Leclerc. I'm going to be positive here. I'm going to be Jamie Leclerc, right? Given the fact that Perpignan are winless, given the fact they're going to focus more on top 14, you'd think, than the Challenge Cup, because the French clubs normally do, in fairness, don't they? They don't
Yeah,
tend to put out strong squads, particularly in the group stages. Is this a winnable game for the Dragons? Could the Dragons actually win a game of rugby this weekend? Because I think there's an opportunity here. The question mark I would have, though, is over the team that we put out. So here's the thing. Philo got a lot of criticism last season for the squads he was putting out in the Challenge Cup, if you remember. He was making a
yes, he
lot of
did.
changes and he got a lot of criticism from supporters, rightly so, in my opinion, because we said on the pod, I don't think he respected the competition and
Yeah,
he's putting out very young squads. Now, he is going to have to make some changes because we got injuries, right? So his hand is going to be forced a little bit. But is he going to go strong for this? I can see him putting out another rotated team. That's my only concern that's making me think, I'm not really sure if this, if that's going to go our way or not. So, how do you feel then heading into this game? Putting aside now the struggles of the URC, it's a new campaign into Europe, and a nice distraction, some would say. How do you feel about this one?
yeah. It's not a team that we're used to losing to, so that's good for a start. We haven't got that sort of that hanging over our head. I We've been close. Two draws at home. You literally can't get any closer. The team have improved. We've got a bit of fight against about us, but we're playing good teams. There's no denying the teams in the URC are strong. They'll all do
Yeah,
well in the cup competitions this season, I'm sure, as well. It is a hard league. Perpignan, if they're not going well, which they're not, that is a chance for us. And I think it's just having that attitude in the team of why not? Let's just go and let's take a swing at them. Let's have a go. I see no reason why we can't go and win. We've got quality players. We're going to have our internationals back. Some of them I think should play. Okay, Wainwright, no, he's had a decent load in his eye. He's probably hanging out of his socket. But players like Carter and Brody should go in for me. They haven't played a lot over the entire autumn.
yeah,
And Rio as well. I'd like to see Anisi come in at 13. I think we need a spark at
yeah.
13. We need someone who can break the gain line. But yeah, I can't see why we can't go and get a win. I'm telling you now, we're going to win 3 of our next 4 games. I'm putting it out there. It's happening.
Gareth,
We're going to go on a
don't
run.
do this to yourself. Don't do it to yourself.
I think they've got to come at some point. And injuries is a big part. We did pick up a few knocks, like you said, like Woodman going off. Let's hope it is a dead leg because I think Woodman's a fantastic player. Really like him. But we've got options at 6 as well. Shane Lewis Hughes come on and done very well. Yeah, I do think we can go there and give them a bloody nose. It's just be interesting who goes at 10 because Tinas did go off and he looked like he'd been hit by a calf when he was sat on the grass near the terrace. He was
He
bloodied and
wasn't injured
battered.
though, was he? He was just,
But so
you know,
he'd gone down in front of us and had a bit of treatment to his back, and he was sort of hobbling around. He played on a bit, and when he came off, he was sort of bleeding, he was aching, he was limping. I think he was just a bit battered and bruised because he really does
yeah,
get
yeah.
stuck in. So I'm hoping he's okay. But there could maybe be rotation there if he is sore. But I think that we played we had quite a pragmatic approach on the weekend. I think let's go and take that same approach to Perpignan, but add in that killer back instinct when we get the opportunities because we didn't do anything behind again. Um, I'm rambling on, but I think we can go and win. Is my answer.
Hmm.
Certainly a winnable game.
Because, you look at Perpignan, okay, they haven't won a game in the top 14, and it would be quite dragonsy to lose to a team that hasn't won all season. Having said that, any game in France is tough.
Oh yeah,
It doesn't matter what club you're playing in the top 14. You go to France, it's tough. They've got big packs. And
yes,
that's my concern. How is the scrum going to go? How is our lineup going to go? Because the set piece was terrible against Leinster, let's be honest. If we got any chance against Perpignan, we need a set piece to function. We're looking light at tight head. I'm worried about
yeah,
the hooker situation. I think Brody has to start.
yeah,
He's only come on for a couple of minutes. I know he's been in camp. It's been a long autumn campaign. I get that, but he has to come straight in for me. Um, I'd
Yeah,
get
I
the other
agree.
Welsh boys, obviously Wainwright, he was not in contention for this game, as I understand anyway. He was always planned to be rested. He'll probably come back for Leon. If he can still see out of both eyes, of course. I think there's going to be rotation in the squad, and I think that's going to annoy some people. I could be completely wrong, but I can see there being a bit of rotation.
We've just
If
had
we,
a month off.
I know, but I think, like I said, some of it will be injury enforced, but I just got a feeling Fio's going to rotate. But what I don't want to see is I don't want to see a load of kids on the bench either, like we were putting out last season. If you're going to rotate, let's have a bit more experience,
Yeah.
you know. But I don't
Yeah,
know what the
look,
injury list is looking like at the moment because we haven't got an injury update. But it is a concern of mine now, these injuries that are building up. And I think there's certain positions I'm concerned about, and I can see Philo rotating a little bit.
yeah. There's some positions though, people should be pushing for a start and change. Like there should be a lot of pressure on Rodri for someone else to have a go and take their chance.
Mm.
There's a lot of big games coming up. If we do rotate, why can't it be right? Go and put your hand up and put in a performance. I know that's not, we've seen us lose enough, but that's what it should be. I feel like why is it a negative for us when we rotate? We should be like, yeah, this is a massive chance for Shea Hope or whoever else to come in. We do need to pick up wins. The problem is they're thinking the same, aren't they? If you need to turn around your season, play the Dragons and get a nice morale boosting victory if you're Perpignan. That's my
Yeah,
worry is they'll go, right, we really need to win this game because this is a chance for us to build some momentum. So they're in the sort of same boat as us and they're at home.
exactly. And French teams do not like losing at home.
No,
They
they
don't like losing at home. Like you don't get that many away wins in the top 14, do you, normally? Although they may have
no,
increased in recent years, but in the past, it would always be usually be home wins.
yeah.
Like away wins were quite rare, but now, like teams do not like losing at home in France, so it's going to be tough. I didn't Cardiff go there and play them last season and lost. I'm sure they played Perpignan last season. I might be
Did they?
wrong on that. I'll have to
Can't
check.
remember. Because
But
Leon, who we've got then at home, are going okay, aren't they? I had a look at
uh,
them and they're looking all right. Not great, but
not great. No, I'll have to look at the top four. The thing is, so it's no
well,
good
actually,
looking at the
they're
top
12th.
40. Yeah, but the thing is, that's not a reflection of what you see in Europe, is it? Because they're different squads, aren't they? So they're not going to
Yeah,
put out
that
the
is
full
true.
strength team. But Leon is going to be very difficult because I remember they came to Swansea last season, didn't they, when they played the Ospreys. I don't think it was
Yes.
quite a full strength squad, but they absolutely battered Ospreys up front.
Yeah.
And you don't normally see the Ospreys getting overpowered, but they did a
No.
power number on them. So again, that's my concern. We're not a powerful side. Our set piece has been struggling. Can we go toe to toe with these big French packs? That's the thing for me. And with the injuries piling up, I'm talking myself out now with
Do you know
for
what though?
Dragons not
Right.
winning.
I know the French packs are bigger than us, and you can physically see us when we play them at home. They are big size, but we've got loads of internationals in our pack. And some of those international, Winton's a British Lion. We've got really good players. I think it's a bit of a mindset thing that we get bullied. Like, why can't we go and impose our game on them and just have a bit of confidence about us? Or let's move the ball around. If they're a big pack, let's move them around and pick a mobile pack. It's just, I feel like as a club, we've got no confidence. And that is because we always lose. And what can we take confidence from? But I feel like it should be coming from the top. I don't find Philo very inspiring when he speaks. And I'm like, mate, I want to be getting up for this game. And he speaks, and I'm like, flipping heck.
Yeah, so this is something that we've spoken about a lot on the group chat, haven't we, with Philo? He never looks comfortable doing the media. And I
No,
get it, I'm not saying he has anxiety, but he never looks comfortable and he doesn't look comfortable in his own skin when he's talking to the media. I don't think he's a very good speaker, if I'm being honest. If I had to be honest about it, I don't think he's a very good speaker. Like when
yeah,
Toby Booth was at the Ospreys, I used to listen to him and I'd think, bloody hell, mate, I'd run through walls for you. He just said all the right things, Toby Booth.
yeah,
And you could see why the Ospreys boys liked him a lot. And it was that culture. Even Matt Sherratt as well at Cardiff.
yeah.
You could see why they had that strong culture. I find him inspiring and he was saying all the right things. You listen to him and you go, yeah, do you know what? You're right, mate. But when I listen to Philo, I don't get that from him because he just doesn't look comfortable. And like you said, I don't find him very inspiring either. I have so much respect for him as a person and as a former player, but as a coach, I do find him very uninspiring. He doesn't talk as well as other coaches in the game. That's the
And I,
problem.
and I think it, like, I know it's only to the media and you could be different behind the scenes, but like, it does set the precedent of how you are. Like, you need to be holding the team accountable. You need to be setting a standard. If somebody says, "Oh, do you think you can win?" He's never confident about it. Well, surely that's rubbing off throughout the team and throughout the building that we're in. Be confident. And I know I've mentioned football a few times on the pod over the last few ones, so I'll try and stop. But like, look at the difference someone like Bellamy's come in from how Robert Page spoke about Wales. Robert Page was very, "Oh, we're only little Wales. It's hard for us to compete." And Bellamy's like, "No, we're going to go at teams and see if they can deal with us." And suddenly there's a mindset
Mm.
shift. Same group of players. He couldn't bring anyone in, and they're playing a completely different style of football. And I think the mindset at the Dragons is poor, and I think it comes from the top. And I don't think it's good enough because we should be confident. And I think, yeah, it's only to the
Why should
media
we though, Gav? When you look at the results now, why should Dragons be confident when they're the
because
worst team in the league and results or they can't win a game? No, I'm just
because
playing devil's advocate. Why should they
yeah,
be confident
well,
then?
because a lot of those players haven't accumulated all those bad results. We signed like 12 players in the summer, and they were good players. So why haven't we had a bit of swagger about us and a bit of confidence? Or are we now dragging those players down to our level with our mindset? I just
I
don't.
think there is a mindset issue. I think everyone can see that. But
Yeah,
that stems from a team that just doesn't know how to win. I think that's natural now, isn't it? You'd
yeah.
expect that. But how does that change? Well, the only way that changes is if you start winning games. That's
And
what's
it
going to breed the confidence.
and it does, but I think it can change from having a leader who inspires you and people can follow and believe in. And I don't see that with Fido. I'm happy to be proven wrong. Let's go on a great run and win some games. I believe we've got good players. And if the players believe in him, great. Someone come out and tell me that. Because at the minute, I'm not seeing confidence coming from the top that, yes, we've got good players that can go and affect games. And we're not utilising our best players as well. Someone like Hugh Anderson should be given a license to go and attack and have a lot of ball. We're not
Mm.
doing it. Why
I,
not?
I get your point about Philo. I thought the same. I don't find him inspiring. To me, he looks like someone who's just not very comfortable with dealing with the media. You compare him to someone like, I don't know, Mark Jones at the Ospreys.
Yeah, yeah,
Very confident speaker,
yeah.
very good speaker, says all the right things, doesn't he? Um, I just think that's Philo. That's who he is. That's just his demeanor. I don't know if you could change that, but yeah, that's just how it is. But I thought the same as you. Cardiff did play Perpignan last season in January. They lost 23-20. It was a close game. So yeah, it's doable, but I just wonder about the injuries and what team is going to be put out. But
Yeah.
we shall see. We shall see. But if we win this, I mean, that sets us up nicely in Europe. Then we go into that Lyon game with a bit of confidence at home. Will Lyon be up for it? Some of these French teams, they can't be asked, can they, in the early stages
Hope
of
not.
Challenge Cup? Well, we hope not, but I really think we could do with a win. And I think that, I mean, do you remember when we made back-to-back European semi-finals? So like we were struggling in the
Yeah.
league. It's a long time ago now, I know, but the Challenge Cup used to be a nice distraction for us, and it did give us a little bit of confidence then
Yeah.
going back into the league. And I think we need that again. We just need a win, don't we?
Well,
By
that's
hook or by crook, whether it's URC Europe, we just need a bloody win because we haven't had one since Newcastle
I do
last
think
year.
in these next two games we need to win because then when it comes to Scarlet's home, I think that's just going to be a tight game. No matter how well or bad the Scarlet's doing, that's just going to be a tight game. New Year's Day just will be.
Mm.
And unless we've won games, you just think, how are we going to get one over the line in a tight derby? I think less if I feel like if we win on the weekend, we will go on a run, and I feel like it can sort of break the dam will burst.
Yeah, it's like you look at the Scarlets, go back to it when they beat in Glasgow, right? I feel now that Avisel could kick them on because
Yes,
we've seen it before. Scarlets, they have this habit under Dwayne Peel where they start the season really poorly, but once they get a big win and then they kick on and then they start winning more. And I just feel that this team needs that. It needs a big win from somewhere or just a win.
yeah. Well, you listen to some ex-players and they talk about like talking about Wales, and they're like, "Oh, it's hard losing and doing that review. It's always easier when you're winning." And then you think of us, you think, "Oh my God."
What do they always say? Oh yeah, training's a bit miserable on a Monday when you've lost. It's like, I can imagine beat up the Dragons up at Stradbrook every Monday morning. Like,
Dear
do you know what I mean?
me, yeah, just
It doesn't really thinking about, does it? Oh
yeah.
dear. Right, okay. Let's get into it then. Predictions. What are you saying before we wrap up? How do you see this going?
Dragons by one.
You sound very confident.
Oh, do you know what? I was thinking of saying more, but I can imagine it be. It's the type of game where we'll just randomly pick Kai Evans at 10. And
Yes, it does feel a bit like that,
it's
doesn't it?
got, when you
Shea
look at the
Hope at
team,
9,
yeah, you're
Kai
like,
Evans
oh,
at
it's
10.
good. And
Yeah.
then you're like, what the fuck's he done? Yeah. You're
But
like,
that's what I'm saying. I think Philo's gonna rotate. I just got this feeling he's gonna be put out the squad and we're gonna be like, what? Okay, we got injuries, but what?
yeah, it's got that feel about it, but I
I mean,
still
we
think
had
we'll
Kai
get it for
Evans on
life.
the wing as well against Leinster, which
Yeah,
is hilarious because Kai Evans, he's not known for his speed.
no,
As
he
Squidge Rugby
worked his
said, he's got his mother's
bollocks off,
genes.
man, didn't he? He was great on the kickoffs, chasing the kickoffs straight
He
down
was
the
he was
center
all
of the
right. He
pitch.
was
He had
good.
a good
I'm not
game.
saying he wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kai Evans gets a hard time. I think he's a tidy enough player, but
Oh yeah, he gets a lot of stick because he's he never assistant and the fact that he hasn't got any pace whatsoever. That's the problem.
but yeah, I imagine he'll be playing 10. But I think we're gonna win. I'm gonna say a point because we're not in a place to start blowing teams away. But I think we'll get a victory.
Now, am I blowing teams away? Just fucking scrape a win.
Yeah, just a
Blowing
win.
teams away. Good God. Chance to be a fine thing. I'm going Perpignan by 5.
Oh,
Um,
I thought we had you on the positive side.
no, because like I said, I'm worried about the injuries. They're piling up. I think Philo's going to rotate and do a couple of strange selections. Um, French teams don't like losing at home, but I do think we'll get a losing bonus point. I think we'll push them, but I think we'll narrowly miss out, and it'll be another game that we should have won. It'll be one of
Again,
those.
though, going to put Perpignan losing by 5 would be a good result, but it's just in the context of us losing every fucking game, it's not a good result, is it? Which is almost frustrating because you can
But
put in
we
a gallant effort and it's not enough now.
but we got tough European fixtures, mate, because we got Lyon
Yeah,
after
we do.
this. Then we got to go to Benetton, who aren't having a very good season actually. I don't know what's going on with Benetton. They seem to have dipped off, haven't they? In
Because they
the
haven't played us yet.
URC. Oh well, probably yeah. And then we got Newcastle Red Bulls, which on the one hand you might think, yeah, that should be a win, but you know,
Can't take anything for granted, can we?
no,
Again,
not
they'll be
at all.
targeting us. That's the problem with being poor. Teams think they have to go and smash you.
Mm, yeah, exactly. But no, I think that a losing bonus point for me. I got to stop saying losing bonus point all the time. I got to back us more, but until we start winning, I can't. I need to see a win to believe that we can actually win a game. That's the problem, see. So best of luck
That's
to the
fair
boys,
enough.
though. It is a winnable game. Hopefully, Perpignan won't give a shit.
Yeah.
And they play absolutely terribly and they don't care because they're so desperate to survive in the top 14. So we'll see. We'll see. But it's the hope that kills you. Anyway, that's a Sunday kickoff. I think it's 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
So yeah, fingers crossed. Anyway,
Cracking.
Gareth, thank you as always
Good stuff.
for
Cheers.
joining me. Thank you to our friends at Riverside Sports Bar for their continued support of the podcast. Hopefully, Gavin will be back next week. And until then, thank you for listening, and we'll speak again soon. Ta-ra.